Hi Queens, how are you guys doing? I hope everyone's doing okay. Excuse the puffy-eyed, no makeup look today. I'm not really apologetic because I hardly wear makeup, only for my videos or if I'm going out. But I'm doing a video quite early in the morning and my face is like really puffy. It reminds me of my dad because he's always got like a real puffy face. So today I'm going to say I look like Frank. Okay Queens, so today I'm going to be doing my top 10 Netflix recommendations. In fact, I've probably got more than 10 because I just watch so much stuff on there, like documentaries and series and blah blah blah, mostly crime because I'm just like obsessed. Okay, now I'm going to talk you through them just a little bit. Hopefully you guys have seen them. If you haven't, make sure you watch them. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And if there's any Netflix recommendations that you can recommend, make sure you comment down below, obviously, if I haven't mentioned them already. Okay, so let's get into the video. Now let's start off with number 1. I'm not saying them in a particular order. These are all just my favourite, probably as good as each other. Some are very, very sad and some are just, you know, fun and full of crime, etc. Okay, so number 1, sorry, my babies are really doing something else today. Okay, so number 1 is going to be, I think it's Killer Inside the Mind of Aaron Hernandez. Now, I did a video on this like a few months ago now, and I still just can't get it out of my mind. So if you didn't know, Aaron Hernandez was an NFL football player in America, and he was like living a double life. His normal life, he was playing ball and, you know, training, moved across the world to play, and his other side, his other life, shall I say, was killing innocent people. He actually murdered his fiance's sister's partner in a row. Now, crazy, I know. We still don't know what it was over. All we know is the guy got into the car with him and a couple of others in the middle of the night, drove off somewhere, and the guy was found dead. So it's crazy. He was like living this whole double life, playing ball, then he was doing drugs in the evening after he'd like finished playing. He was hanging around with like gangsters. He ended up shooting one of them apparently. It's like really, really crazy. I won't go too much into it because if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's a really, really good watch. At the end, they find out that he's got like a brain, like what's it called? So at the end, they find out that he's got something wrong with his brain, like he's been hit too much with, like, you know, in football and stuff. I can't remember the actual name. I will link it down below. But yeah, so basically they find out there's something wrong with his brain after he's dead. Okay, Queens, I think I've told you a bit too much. Okay, anyway, you'll find out, but that's definitely one of my top recommendations. Okay, and the next one is Gabrielle Fernandez. I think it's the trials of Gabrielle Fernandez. This is a very, very sad story about a little boy. I think he was like 6 or 8, and it's such a heartbreaking story for anyone, especially parents, to watch it. It's real life, and this little boy was living with his mum and stepdad. He'd been passed around the family because his mum didn't want him when he was born, and tragically he lost his life in the end because he was brutally beaten for months. Social services knew, the police knew, the teachers knew, and no one blew the whistle enough to get him out of that house, and it was too late in the end. It's very sad. It shows you everything that happened. It shows you his body. It shows you the marks, the scars, everything he wrote, still loving his mum after everything she was doing. The mum knew what she was doing, and in the end, the mum and the stepdad went to prison, and hopefully they just rot in prison. But again, I won't go into it too much because if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a watch. I know it's sad, and I know a lot of people don't like to watch these things, but sometimes you have to, just to know what is really going on with the childcare system, especially in America. We know how corrupt it is, especially right now with everything that's going on. It's definitely important to watch, I think. Okay, then we have White Lines. Okay, this is a really exciting series. I finished it in, I think it was a couple of days. Oh, I need to sneeze. Oh, sorry, Queens. I think I've got a bit of a cold coming. So yeah, so this White Lines is amazing. It's about a guy that left Manchester to go to Ibiza and live a whole party life of music, drugs, and do his own like festivals out there and raves. He left home. His dad was a police officer, and he left behind his sister, who they were so close. They were like literally like the bestest friends. And when he left, she was heartbroken, but he didn't want to be around the dad anymore. The dad kicked him out because he was partying too much, you know, police officer. And then he's got a son who's doing the total opposite to what he should be doing. doing? So he moved to Ibiza with his friends. There was a group of them that went over and he ended up dying. Years later, the sister went out there to try and find out what was going on, and she just ended up living another double life. She left her husband and daughter back home in Manchester, and she went over there to try and find out what happened, but ended up getting into all sorts of trouble and all sorts of problems and issues, etc. So yeah, it's a very, very good watch. I loved it. So exciting. Lots of like sexual scenes, so if you're young, don't watch it. But yeah, just so interesting, fun, and really like gripping. Very sad at times, but also very exciting at times as well. Definitely a watch. Okay, and then we have Greenleaf. Now, Greenleaf is about a family who are very church orientated, very religious. But as we all know, you can be religious all you like, but you may have many sins, just like this whole group of family members. So much goes on between having a baby with somebody, but then he's actually gay. The brother of the pastor, no, is it the lady they call her? Lady May, that was it. Her brother ends up getting done for being a paedophile and rape against their own daughter, etc, etc. They all have their own sins, that each one of the family members get into all sorts of problems, affairs, drama, crime, love, everything you could think of in a religious family. It's like the total opposite. God would have been throwing up fire sticks, literally. It's like crazy. The reason why I loved it is because it's about family, and in the end they all come together, no matter what they've been through with each other, the dramas, the crime, the love, the hate, falling out with each other, blah blah blah. It all came back together in the end, and I loved it. And when it finished, I was so gutted. I was like, please tell me there's going to be like another series. I think how many series did they have? I can't even remember now. But yeah, Greenleaf is definitely a watch, because when I first clicked, I was like, doesn't really look like my type of thing. It's very like churchy and whatnot, but it is so good. You'll be surprised. With a lot of them, you'll think, like a lot of the films, you'll think, oh, I don't think I'd be into it like that. But just watch it. If you keep seeing it and you think, oh, shall I, shouldn't I? Watch it, because that's been me recently. Should I, shouldn't I? When I've clicked it and watched it, I'm like, oh my God. And even sometimes like the first episode is a bit rubbish, but then once you get into it, it's like, bing, amazing, queens, amazing. Okay, and next up we have When They See Us. Oh my God, queens, like what? This is real life, by the way, real life. This is happening. This is still happening in America again. George Floyd, rest in peace. Any other black male who has been corrupted by the police, the racism, everything. These group of boys were in Central Park, you know, on a night. They was all like having fun, very, very young kids. They was all having fun, running through the park, you know, causing mayhem. Kids will be kids. And later got arrested for a suspicion of trying to kill and rape a woman who was jogging in the park. They got done for it. They got charged. They got beaten in prison. Some of them got raped. And literally they was in prison like from young boys till they were adults. So could you imagine all of them years? And they were constantly protesting they're innocent, we didn't do it, it wasn't us, it was other people. There was no evidence, there was nothing. And the reason again why they stayed in prison was due to the colour of their skin, and the judges who again were corrupt, just like the police officers who arrested them. Yes, America, we see you. Again, this is called When They See Us, okay? This will have you in absolute tears. One of them was so badly like attacked in prison all the time, beaten and raped. He's now like a whole different person with like real life mental health issues. Every single one of them has issues. You know, their parents died. They didn't get to see their parents. They went through everything you could imagine to come out, and yes, they got paid. They got given money for compensation, but what's money when you've lost your whole childhood? You've lost your parents. What is there? What's there really to live for? Yes, they've grown on to have kids and stuff, but again, their whole childhood was ruined. You'll never ever forget it, no matter how much compensation the justice system can give you. Where was the justice all them years ago? So that is definitely a watch. You have to watch it. I'm telling you, I don't care what colour you are, you have to watch this and see for real life what is happening in America, and it's still happening to this day. It's still happening to this day. Okay, I know a lot of these are crime knowing their real life, but I did say to you guys that these are my favourite kind of films. There are a few where I think, okay, it's like romance, but I am more of like, you know, getting into the mind of somebody and crime and real life, what is going on. So the next one up is going to be Making a Murderer, okay? Now, Making a Murderer is a few years old now. It's not new on Netflix. It's been on there for I'd say a few years, I'd like to say. Now, this is about a man who, again, has been wrongly accused of murder. He was wrongly accused of raping a girl way back in the day, and he was exempt. They found out it wasn't him, it was somebody else. And then because they didn't like him and his family, the police, they've planted evidence at his house to say that a woman came there to look at the car. She worked for Auto Trader, I think it was, and she never returned back to work or home. But they're saying that she didn't even leave the trailer park or wherever they live. Now, not only are they saying he was involved in killing her and apparently burning her, his nephew as well. Now, his nephew was very young at the time, and again, the police absolutely corrupted his mind. When they went in for an interview, there was no adults around, it was just him and the police. The police were feeding the nephew like things into his head. He was coming out of all these bizarre things. He must have changed his story like so many times. Again, the uncle that was accused of actually doing everything, there's like no evidence. In fact, the only evidence they have is what the police planted. There's so much to say it was the police, but for some reason they won't take it to another court. They won't get another trial because they're trying to just frame him, even though there's so much pointing towards another family member who they think has done it. Now, this is a very sad story. He's been in prison for years and years and years now. Him and the nephew they're still not allowed out. They're still in prison. You know, the uncle, the guy, Stephen, he has literally like been there since his young 20s, I'd say. Again, the parents are getting old, and the parents are probably not going to be around for much longer. So again, they've had to watch their son, their nephew be in prison all this time when they know they're innocent. And he's got a really good lawyer, attorney. He's trying to get him out. She's going through hell and back to try and get him out. She's been going through the crime scene again and again, getting all the top scientists, but they still won't take it to another court. They still won't do another trial. It's a very sad watch because I really don't know what will happen with this. I don't know if he'll ever be set free. You know, again, police are corrupt, but you think in this day and age something would be done. Something would be done to make sure these police officers get their trial, you know, to make sure that they go to prison for what they're doing. They're not doing the right thing. They're not protecting everyone. They're corrupt. And I'm not saying that's every police officer, because we do know there's some police officers that are obviously doing their job and doing what they should be there to do. But then there's the other side that are corrupt. They're racist. And again, America is so corrupt. It's like shocking. Most of these stories are coming from America. Shocking. So that's definitely worth a watch. And they've got a series 1 and 2. I don't know if there's going to be a 3 or not, but you definitely have to watch. Okay, Queens. So another great one is A Fall from Grace. Now, I absolutely love this program. It wasn't real life. It was like a actual film. It's about a woman that is accused of killing her husband or partner. Now, she did kill him. She did, but it was self-defense. Okay. People that have tried her and she's had lawyers, etc. They've not managed to do the job. Then this one young lady who's still beginning in her law career comes and literally saves her, saves the case, gets all this evidence, finds out so much, ends up getting into a lot of trouble as well. Now, this has a real twist to it because the woman who's accused or has done it, but again, self-defense, her best friend is involved as well, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Her best friend is involved, and I'm not saying involved with her, I'm saying against her. And the person who was killed was her son. It was her best friend's son. So can you imagine there's like a real twist to it? There's danger, there's violence, there's love, there's everything that you could imagine in this. It's crazy. And again, it comes down to the police saying, no, she's done it. Doesn't matter, we've got evidence, she's admitted it, she's killed him, that's it. But why? What actually happened? This is a woman who's had no criminal history, a woman that's worked a great job, bakes cookies for the streets, everything that you could imagine from a black elderly woman. She's like you know how it is, like a black elderly woman, like a grandma who's like just doing everything for the community. Why would she randomly just kill a man? Then they start getting into so much, like he stole the money, he's trying to take her life, her houses. It's such a really good watch because it's so sad. and it's like a real like heartwarming, tear-jerking film. So make sure you watch that one. Then we have the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. Oh my goodness. Now, we've all been following the story for years and years and years, and some people say, oh, I'm sick of hearing about it now, they just need to move on. If that was your child, are you telling me you would move on? Regardless, the parents made the biggest mistake ever, because if they didn't make that mistake, then, you know, the child would be here, let's be honest. But they're paying for that now. Every single damn day, they're paying for the price of, because of their mistake, their child's now gone. Is she dead or is she alive? Now, I'm sure most of you have definitely watched this and know about the story, but I think you need to really watch this documentary to know everything that's been happening, because the media tell you all different things. This is a real life story, by the way. A little girl was taken from her hotel room in Portugal. Parents would just go out down the road to like a little restaurant every hour, I think, or every 15, 20 minutes, sorry. They all took turns in checking their children, because the other people that were with them as well had their children in the hotel, etc. And they went and checked them a couple of times. The next time they checked them, I think they'd been there like a week or two. I think it was like a week and a half. Then this happened. So they'd been staying on their own in the rooms while the parents were out. But then literally, I think they must have been being watched by whoever took them. I don't know. So basically, the little girl was taken, and they realised the door was open, the window was open, the little girl was nowhere to be seen. There was reports that people had seen a man carrying a girl across the road, a lot of reports. When you really get into this film, you'll see how many kidnaps there has been in that area. It was Portugal, it was the Algarve, and you see how many paedophiles were around, like a paedophile ring. But again, the police did not do enough. They didn't close the border straight away, they didn't close the roads, they allowed cars to just drive by. That little girl could have been in the car, been in the van. So I'm not, you know, I don't know what to really make of that. I don't know, again, whether the police were involved or whether it was just a paedophile ring who had been watching the hotel. You know, the little girl had blonde hair, blue eyes or green eyes, typical for paedophiles, horrific. They can sell the child, make more money, you know, absolutely disgusting. So before this, obviously, there was a lot of speculation and different stories, but for me, I wanted to watch it. And then when I did watch it, I learned I don't think it was the parents that killed their child. I think it was genuinely a paedophile ring, and, you know, they've done what they've done. They've sold her, or I don't know. But it's definitely worth a watch, just so you can get an insight into really what happened, everyone's statements, and much more. So yeah, definitely give that a watch, Queens, and let me know your thoughts on that one, what you do think happened. Again, we don't know for sure. We're all allowed our opinions. Okay, Queens, now we have a film called Breaking In, okay? A film, not real life. Now, this has Gabrielle Union in it. I absolutely love her as an actress. I think she's brilliant. She's so pretty as well. Now, this is about her and her two children who have lost their granddad. So the children lost their granddad, and Gabrielle lost her dad. He got killed in a hit and run, okay? Now, when you see, you think, okay, well, hit and run. Don't get me wrong, people, like, you know, run people over and just they don't want to face up to it, but more time it's for a reason. Now, her dad was obviously involved in different things which she had no idea about until they got to the house where the dad lived to clean up the house, which is like miles and miles away from where they actually lived themselves. Now, when they got there, you know, they were trying to clean up the house. It was like in the woods, like real scary shit, like actually in the woods where the house was, like a nice big house, all flush. The dad obviously had a lot of money. How, I don't know. Now, so basically what happened is within a night of staying there, they ended up being attacked and not robbed, but like they were broken into by a group of people who were obviously involved with the dad. They had the dad had like a chip or something, like for a computer that they needed to get into, like a safe. But again, Gabrielle had no idea what the hell that was going on, what her dad was about, and only really found out once this was all over. Now, in between all of that, they tried to kill the kids. They tried to kill the woman. She ended up running away and killing somebody else in the woods. They kept the children in the house. She ended up like becoming a real like ninja turtle and getting into the house, getting the children, killing them, finding out what the hell happened, all of that. Then the neighbour came round and she ended up getting killed herself. It's like a real crime thriller. It was like really, really exciting. It's crazy because she didn't really get on with her dad. She didn't like him, so he lived a whole double life, you know, which she had no idea about. But I love the way, like, as a parent, she did whatever it took to get her children out. She did everything to get in that house and make sure that her children were safe and protected. It's definitely worth a watch. It will have you, like, on the edge of your seat. Okay, Queens, now I nearly forgot one. Power. How the hell did I nearly forget one of the best series I've ever watched? I'm not even lying to you. Power is one of the best series I've ever watched. I do not care what anyone says. This was like a mastermind, okay? Now, Power is about a guy called Ghost who lives, again, a double life. He's a father, he's a husband, he's a nightclub owner, and then everyone kind of thinks he's legit. But then he has this other side where he is a drug dealer and he works with drugs, he moves drugs, he has like a massive warehouse. He's just involved with drugs and gangsters and all of that. So there's like two sides. He's like living a double life. He ends up falling back in love with a woman from high school, cheats on his partner, you know, starts doing people wrong, falling out with his children because of all the wrong decisions. So since he met the girl from years ago, things start really falling apart from him. He ends up going to prison. His accomplice Tommy, again, is like another great actor, both in the drug world, but Tommy, nobody knows they're associated with each other. Obviously people on the bad dark side do, but not on the like corporate side, because they all think that he's legit. Now, with that side of him, like the sort of good side of him, Ghost is just on his own. Like he's owning his nightclub, he's all legit, he's making business deals, they want him to become mayor, etc, etc. But then when the police start really hounding down on Tommy and the drugs and that side of things, they understand that now Ghost, known as so Ghost, other known as James St. Patrick. So James St. Patrick is his legit name, but Ghost is his name on the streets, basically. Now they then just start to find out who Ghost is and then try to link it with James St. Patrick, which is obviously the truth, but they can't get the evidence until the end, okay? There's tons and tons of series. It's such a good watch. It will have you crying. He loses his daughter. His son then gets into crime because he's following his dad's footsteps. It's like crazy. Each and every one of the characters go through something like extraordinary, life-changing. Ghost's wife, Tasha, she is like amazing. She's like a real gangster wife. Then you've got Keisha, who's actually Lala in real life. Again, another gangster girl, but she's also very legit and scared of that world. And then she actually ends up dying in the end because she's not a real gangster's wife. She can't keep her mouth shut, basically. It is such an amazing watch. Oh my God, Queens. Honestly, I absolutely loved it. Every episode is like, oh my God, have you on the edge of your seat. And in the end, it's so sad. I won't tell you what happens because I do want you to watch it if you haven't already, but it's very sad. It just shows you that you can't get away with everything. Like when your life changes and you start shitting on people, you know, God will really come down on you. You can't shit on people. You can't do wrong against people like that time and time again. We all make mistakes, but to make them continuously, something has to end. Okay, Queen, so I hope you've loved all my recommendations for Netflix. Personally, I think they are all the best. I've loved them, every single one of them. I'd say they're all so good. I definitely would say Power is probably the best out of all of them. I'd love to probably watch it all again. I would watch it all again, to be honest with you. That's how much I loved it, because every episode, it's like Ghost is such like a powerful guy, but he's quiet. He's so quiet, but he's always thinking, always making the next move. He's very smart, and he's also very good looking as well. Don't tell the husband I said that. Anyway, Queens, so I hope you've loved them. Make sure you comment down below and let me know which ones were your favourites. Is there any recommendations you can give me that I might like to watch, like crime, thriller, etc., real life documentaries? Make sure you let me know, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah. Bye, Queens.